Introducing you to Geemorgan Publishing with Felicity Morgan. Hi dear viewers, we've got an amazing person on the show today in the name of Felicity Morgan, who is here to talk about her business and publishing house, Geemorgan Publishing. It's quite a joy we'll be having this conversation today. Welcome to the show, Felicity.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited, so excited to have you on the show today, to have a conversation around your company.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Let's see how this
Yeah.
goes.
First of all, I want to say it's nice to have you on the show, Felicity. And for those who haven't heard about G Morgan Publishing, can you tell us briefly what your organization is all about? Can you give us a little bit of background? That'll be fine.
Sure. So Geemorgan Publishing, we're more than a publishing house, basically. We're like a dedicated literary partner.
Mm,
We offer a range of services from like ghostwriting, web services, like creating a website, all the way down to marketing and book reviews and creating
wow.
bestsellers. So the essence of Geemorgan Publishing is basically to give voices to the stories. So just ensuring that everybody's narrative, because everybody has a story, and your narrative is authentically and just beautifully conveyed in a book or whatever format that you need it to be. And so that's what we do.
Yeah, that's quite amazing to know. I love the sound of that. Now, I'd love you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What experiences or passions have shaped who you are today. Would you love to talk about that?
Sure. Sure. So my passion for writing and it really just kindled when I was in high school.
Mm,
I don't know if you know this, Peter, but you and I, like, I'm from Nigeria. Um,
wow.
yeah, but I grew up in Senegal, and so I went
Oh,
between Nigeria and Senegal quite often. And so
wow.
I kept, like, a very detailed diary every time, like, I would go on the plane, I would get the window seat and I would look outside and admire nature and just kind of like document all of that stuff in the diary, like why is there so much hunger and war and all of that. Like we have a lot of resources because just looking outside just kind of made me like we shouldn't be fighting about anything. And
Mm,
so I had like a lot of volumes and volumes of diaries, and over time, and a friend of mine kind of stumbled on one of them, and she read it and was like, this is such a good way
wow.
to see the world and whatnot. And we're still friends 25 years later. um
Oh,
so yeah, and so she's like, it kind of stayed with me in that sense. And when I went to college, African family, I went to college and my family was like, you have to study either law, engineering, or be a doctor or like an accountant. And I was just like, struggling between what I really wanted, like arts and literature
mm,
and just writing and all of that stuff, versus what would make me more money quicker so that my parents would get off my back. So I chose the lesser of all evil and I studied accounting. But
wow.
feed my creative side, I joined some organizations on campus and just kind of made me get into like a healthy competition, writing competitions. Like I would just write just, for fun, and I would get like first place, second place or whatever. And I
Wow.
love those. And I was like, okay, well, this is fun. I would just do it for fun. And for whatever reason, I just kept winning these prizes. I was like, okay. And so
Wow.
over time, I just kind of start an internship in a law firm outside of campus, and they just put me on research and reports, and I just started writing, and they saw my talent there, and I was like, okay, well, it's funny because you literally can't see what you have. Others can see because it's like, this is me, this is who I am.
Mm,
And over time, I started editing like our school newspapers and stuff like that. And this word just got out, word of mouth. People just started talking to each other. And, I've moved since then. And like I said earlier, I'm a shy person. I don't do cameras. So when people were like talking and word of mouth, I'm just kind of like really shy and more reserved. And it's like ghostwriting. Yes, I'll do the ghostwriting piece, but I don't want to do the camera piece. So it's very recent. The Geemorgan Publishing piece is just like really recent. But the writing piece, I've always done that. And yeah, also one thing that makes me me is I'm a mom of two boys that
Oh,
are,
beautiful.
yeah, they'll probably walk in any second now. But they're a handful, I promise you. Like they're just like a lot. But yeah, they're 8 and 6 years old and they keep me very busy.
Oh,
But aside from that, yeah, those are the things that make me me. And yeah, that's it.
well, I love it. I can go on and on. It's so nice to know. It's so nice to learn about you and to have some bit of information about. And more particularly that you're from Nigeria. I never saw that coming. Very nice to know.
Thank
Now, I
you.
also love to ask you, would you like to talk about how you embarked on your journey as a ghostwriter? How did you come to include ghostwriting into Geemorgan Publishing as one of the services that you offer?
So I mentioned earlier, like, it was like word of mouth and people just started, hey, I wrote this book using this person. So you can go ahead, they'll vouch for me and things like that. So from
Mm,
the law firm, it kind of just grew and grew like that. And so I just kind of did it behind the scenes. And so like joining like over the pandemic, I was just reflecting on like all of the pain points people had with like publishing. And like it shouldn't be that difficult. Like publishing a book, like you've done the hard part. Like writing the book is the hardest piece. Now
absolutely.
let's publish the book. Like it should not be that difficult. And so I started doing a lot of research. So the publishing piece is still like fairly new. Like I'm a year and a half into it. 18 months into it now. And so kind of, dip my feet in the waters and trying to help these writers. Like once they're writing, it should also be seen. And like it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg to get your book out there. And so I started, I've been told that our services are one of the least expensive that people have come
Mm,
across. And so it's just our goal is just helping people get their voices out there, putting it out into the public and just helping them the best way possible, just removing all of those pain points that are there that could, hinder the success of their book. So, and that's how we
wow.
included all of it, that kind of just merge it all together.
Yeah, I love the sound of that. And it's so amazing to know
Thank
about this.
you.
Now, I also
Thank
love to ask you, Felicity, have you personally published or written any books before?
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that I have like two boys. My
Yeah.
little one is kids can be so, I don't know. Like, so my little one always wants to eat like crazy stuff for breakfast, like cookies and cupcakes and things that are not breakfast breakfast appropriate. And so I had to actually publish this book.
Yeah, good.
So this is
William
William.
Can't Wait.
Yeah, this is William Can't Wait. My
Beautiful.
son's name is William. And basically,
Oh,
him who cannot wait to grow up and do all this fun, cool stuff that, he will want to do.
mm,
Anyways. And so that's my pen name. When I'm publishing books, I
FG
use the pen
Morgan.
name FG Morgan because, I'm still very reserved, shy. I don't, want everybody to see my name, but that's what I use. And so I wrote that for my kids. And really for anybody can read it as well. And this one as well,
Josiah the Magician.
yeah, Josiah the Magician is basically being different, is special.
Oh,
One of my older kid, Oscar, he had a question for me one time. He's like, why is it that all parents in school, like they have their mom and their dad and whatever in school, and it's just you, me, and William? And I'm like, well, it kind of got scary because I'm a single mom, and it kind of got
oh,
scary. And I was like, well, I don't know how else to explain this, then put it in the book. So I put this,
oh,
I told them what it was, but I still put it in the book so that they can have this for however long they need it. So I made this, people love it. So these are the two children's books that I've
wow.
written that like I just write based off of what I'm feeling, how it, how I feel like it would impact people around me. And so those are the two. I'm writing on my own personal journey, and that's gonna take a while because I'm trying to get all three books ready because that's my personal journey, but that's in the works. Yeah. So but those are the two
Wow.
books so far that I put my name on. Everything else is more ghostwriting. So
Yeah. That's so
thank you.
amazing to know. I love the sound of your books and how they come to be. The inspiration behind the making of it, it's very amazing. And the second one, the question your little boy asked you is a great one. It's a deep one to arouse a book,
I know, I
Yeah,
know.
that's actually a
It
very
was a really
nice thing.
scary time. Yeah, it was a very scary time for us. It's like I don't know how else to explain this, and I tried my best. I was like, let me just put it in the book, and it's out there now. So
That's
yeah.
beautiful. That's very nice to know. Now,
Thank you.
Felicity, regarding your company, how did you come up with the name G Morgan Publishing? Would you love to talk about that too?
Sure. It's actually a funny story because the way it came up is the G is supposed to be my middle initial, which
Oh.
is Gwen. But I kind of just switch that around. Sometimes I would say it's ghostwriting, sometimes I would say it's Gwen. So it doesn't really matter. So it really I would say maybe ghostwriting, um, experienced, I don't know, experienced editor, something like that. I would
Oh,
say that. But
yeah.
like I was trying to come up with a really nuance between like my name and what I plan to do. Publishing was always going to be there, but like the first piece, you just really had to find something that was very unique. I couldn't just use G by itself. I couldn't just say FG Morgan because like that was my full
Yeah.
pen name, all of it. So just the G Morgan Publishing made a little bit more sense to me. And when I had like an illustrator put out my logo and everything, I was like, that's perfect. Let's just, the EE still puts like a little shade or front for me so that I'm not like at the forefront of it, but it's still a little bit of my name and it's still a publishing house as well. So it's like a
Mm.
combination to make it a more catchy and consumer friendly, I guess, as well.
That's very amazing to know. I love the stance of it. I love the inspiration behind the making of your name, your company name. Now, can
Thank you.
you explain the concept of ghostwriting in a more depth for audience, just in case, would love you to do that.
So, really, ghostwriting is kind of like taking an idea and transforming it into like a written form, right? Behind the
Hmm.
scenes. So everybody can write, like most people can write something,
Yeah.
but like really creatively putting it together and making it like make sense and translating it into a full book is like that is really the art of ghostwriting is capturing your voice, right? Like different people say things differently, like the way I speak is different from the way I write. It's like right,
Hmm.
so people say things differently, people mean like you want it to be a certain way, and working with a ghostwriter kind of helps you convey like your message, and they put it in a very creative way so that it makes sense to people like a broader audience and amplify your voice as
Yeah.
much as possible to just not just a local place but like worldwide. So being a ghostwriter is kind of like, for me, is stepping into the person's shoes and kind of understanding where they're coming from and just being able to convey their message authentically as possible. And also like with ghostwriting, and one of the things I wanted to say earlier too is like with ghostwriting is we don't keep any of the credit. So ghostwriting, like
Hmm.
being a ghost, is really fun because you can put all these ideas on paper and you're like, yeah, you own the idea now. I have nothing to do with it. And so like, it's their name on the paper, like as the author. And so combining that ghostwriting and Geemorgan Publishing piece, like having to deal, one of the pain points for people was the royalties that people had to pay to like do this, or publishing a book and getting things out there. Is like, you list your book for $20 and you only make $2 per copy, and that's like crazy ridiculous. And
Hmm.
so combining that Geemorgan Publishing and the ghostwriting piece together is like we don't do royalties, period. So like we do all the publishing for you, we do all the work, get your book out there, and there's just no royalties, right? I think that's the fun part of it. It's like take away all that pain point and you make all the money. We don't do all that. And so you know, that's really the art of ghostwriting, just putting it all together. And with G Morgan Publishing, that's what we stand for as well.
Yeah, that's very amazing. I love the sound of it. And thank you so much for sharing some more thought on what ghostwriting is all about. And even from my
Absolutely.
most recent conversation with one of your authors, I see that you've done quite an amazing job. Beautiful one, brilliant
Thank you.
work, and I can vouch for that. That's such a great one. Very
Thank you.
lovely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, aside from ghostwriting, what other services does Geemorgan Publishing offer?
So like we have like a range of services. Like I said earlier, we're like you're literally publicists. Like we do everything for you. We would do like the writing, the editing, proofreading, formatting, all of it, book cover. We do
Wow.
all of it, audiobooks, we do all of that to get it out there. Everything, every single thing you need to get it out there. Like we don't say no to anything. We just make sure that we're on the same page, we're leveling on the same grounds. All of our publishing services, we create author websites for people that need
Wow.
it, like all of it, really. Because our goal really is like we're a full service, like a full service publishing company. We do everything.
Yeah.
Um, our goal is to get your book out there to support the authors as much as possible every step of the way of their journey, and that's really what we do.
Yeah, I love the sound of that. That sounds very intriguing to me. Thanks for adding that as well. Now, I
Sure.
also love to ask you, Felicity, in today's digital age and the invention of artificial intelligence, how do you incorporate AI into your work process or offerings?
Absolutely. So as far as AI goes, it's like a genius thing that the world has come up with. It's a fascinating tool. Sometimes writers do have writer's block, right?
Yeah.
When you're trying to write something and the idea is just not flowing or whatever. So AI for us, personally, I use AI for like brainstorming. So
Wow.
look through when I look through social media and like things that people write with AI, you can tell that an AI wrote this. Like when you read it, it's
Wow.
very monotone, like it comes out that, like it's so monotone.
Yeah.
And an AI cannot do what a human does. You can use it to brainstorm, but it cannot write for you. Like your story is
Mm,
in yours alone. So
yeah.
the creativity behind like a book, an AI can help you perhaps come up with a book title, the title of each chapter or something
Synopsis.
like that, but cannot help you write the book. So I personally use AI for brainstorming sessions.
Wow.
Um, my team just to make sure that we're all speaking the same language on the same page, like putting all our different ideas together and seeing like what we can, like the trail that we can go off, the tangents we need to go off, and things like that. And so
Mm.
that's really what we use AI for.
Wow, that's very great. I love the fact that you mentioned this because I'm pretty sure some people might be a bit curious of the use of
Yeah,
AI alongside. So thanks for
yeah,
shedding more light and clarifying that as well.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to budding writers looking to make their marks? Would you love to talk about that too?
Yeah. So, um, your story from like your story is it's yours. Like it's very unique, it's authentic. Like if you feel like your story can help one person out there, just stay true to yourself. Like
Mm,
just don't give up, stay consistent in whatever it is you're doing and just, start somewhere. You can dedicate yourself to like writing 700 words a day or something and just at least you've started somewhere, right? But don't wait. Don't wait so much. One thing that my mantra I like to live by this is the words of Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther. And he
mm,
said, take your time, but don't waste your time, right? You can take your time, you can think about it or whatever, do what you need to do to get there, but don't wait too long to get there. Just, start somewhere. And so
yeah.
that's the advice that I have is like just stay true to yourself. Don't listen to the outside noise and just do what you have to do to get there. Like fight those fears and you will get there.
Yeah, thank you so much for your advice. And I'm hopeful that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Now, and for our readers out there, any recommendation on insight you'd like to share? Also, in case we have some viewers who are interested in your services, how can they contact you?
So just as I said earlier, just remember that your story has value. And if your story can help one person out there, it is worth diving into it. It is worth it. Don't think so much about the profit you're gonna make or your revenue, whatever about. Don't think about that. Just think about who you can help with this story. Think about who
Yeah.
the life you can impact with it. As far as our services and people who may be interested, we are at Geemorgan Publishing, www.geemorganpublishing.com. That's our website. And you can also send an email to hello@geemorganpublishing.com, or our phone number is 1-888-898-6080. That's a lot of eights, by the way. That's a lot of eights, and that's how I remember it. But yeah, you can reach out to us, and if you have any questions, follow up, somebody to just look over your work or edits, then just let us know. If you just want someone to look over your work or just give you feedback on something, like, don't be shy to get your work out there, because like getting feedback is how you would continue to improve and succeed in your journey. So reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, all of that stuff. Just reach out to us and we can help you. Again, it is hello, that's HELLO at geemorganpublishing.com. That's our email, okay?
Yeah. And I left a link to Geemorgan Publishing in the description part of this interview, where interested viewers and authors can reach out to them directly. So thank you so much, Felicity, for accepting the invitation to talk about Geemorgan Publishing on the show. It's really lovely having this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun. Not as scary as I thought. So
yeah. Thank you so much. It was fun too.